Hi class, and welcome to Module 2, Web Technology. For this set of lessons, which will be due over the next 2 weeks, we're going to be focusing on web technology. And one of the things that is important to keep in mind is, in this day of social media and YouTube, Twitter, all the rest, sometimes it's easy to forget that the basis of our web presence, the most important part of our web presence, is almost always our websites. And why is that? Well, one of the big reasons is because you have total control over your websites. When it comes to social media, people can react differently to the kinds of social media that you put out, and you don't have full control of those messages. But you do have full control over your websites. So it is your most valuable asset in the area of web presence. Make sure that you look at this overview of web technology. This is a 5-minute video that gives a brief introduction to how the internet works. You can take a deeper dive into how the internet works by taking a look at this article and how stuff works, which tackles, how does the internet work. There's a more like a white paper here that's put out by Stanford that gets more deeply into how the internet works. You don't have to read every bit of it, but make sure that you do take a look and pick and choose some things that interest you and take a deeper dive into how the internet works. This video here is about Tim Berners-Lee. Sir Tim Berners-Lee is the person who is most responsible for the World Wide Web. They call him the father of the World Wide Web. And that's because he was the person most responsible for the development of Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is the protocol used to send information to browsers. And also, he was instrumental in developing HTML, Hypertext Markup Language, and this is what enables you to see what you see on the web. So this is a very, very interesting video about him. The last video is a kind of a basic explanation of HTML. So if you're not familiar with HTML, you should take the time to look through that. So once you've finished the overview, then we're going to get into the assignment. So the first assignment, which is due the first Sunday of this 2-week module, is how the web works assignment. And so I'd like you to visit this site, the W3 School site. So this site is actually a Norwegian creation. It plays off of the W3C web consortium that Tim Berners-Lee actually set up. What this W3 School site does is it creates examples for nearly every kind of web technology that there is and exposes you to them. It's not necessarily the best place to go and master web technology. There's a website that I've discovered recently called HTML Dog, which I really love. Let me bring that up for you. Here's the HTML Dog site. It's just great. The tutorials are really thorough, and they go from beginner to intermediate to advanced. It's a fantastic resource for people that are just starting out to learn HTML. Once you visit the W3 School site, you'll see across the top there's HTML, CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets, JavaScript, SQL, PHP, Bootstrap, more things that you can learn about on this site. What I want you to do is pick 2 different technologies and do 5 of the tutorials each. Now, if you're already familiar with HTML and cascading style sheets, you don't need to do those. Pick something else that you want to learn about, like JavaScript or SQL. Bootstrap is fantastic. It's a way to create websites that are responsive, and responsive websites are really essential because what they are websites that can be seen on a regular computer, something like an iPad, also on a phone. And so the site's accordion down in size depending on what medium you're using to look at it. If you are not familiar with HTML and cascading style sheet, do those, because those are the basic. For instance, with HTML, I want you to pick 5 of these tutorials that you're interested in, and then for a cascading style sheet, pick 5 of their tutorials. And as you work your way through them, take screenshots of them and paste the screenshots into a Word document. So that gets us through this much of the instruction. And then after you've done the tutorial, write a 2-paragraph reflection about what you learned. You should put that underneath, or you can put them either on top or underneath your screenshots, but write a 2-paragraph reflection about what you learned. Each paragraph should be 5 to 8 sentences. The first paragraph should be what you learned from the videos and your reading, and title that paragraph, How the Internet Works. And then when you write that paragraph, make sure that you reference what you saw and read to demonstrate that you actually viewed and read it. Use quotes or refer to it in such a way that it's obvious that you actually read it. And if you reference any sources that are outside of what's been assigned, make sure you use MLA standards to cite your sources. For MLA standards, a good place to go is the Maricosa Library website. So here's the page on the library site. And by the way, MLA stands for Modern Language Association. Use these kind of standards when you're doing your citations. So the second paragraph is a reflection about what you learned from the W3 Schools tutorial. And this paragraph should, in bold, have the heading, How Web Pages Work. After you've done that, attach the Word document to the post below. You can sign up for your free Shopify account. So let's take a look at that. So here's the information about signing up for the Shopify store account. To obtain your free trial, you go to the Shopify site itself. And then here there's this button that says Start Free Trial. So just sign up. It's pretty darn easy. And then after you've done that, make sure you get the URL for your site. The URL not for the admin page of your site, but for the store itself, the place that the visitors would, the part of the site that visitors would see when they visit your site. Use this form to submit your information to Shopify. By doing this, they will be extending your free trial. So the free trial is only 2 weeks, but for Maricosa, they have a special deal where they will extend your free trial until the end of the semester. So you need to put my name in here, Don Dean, put your name here, your email address, your student ID. Here's where you put the URL of your Shopify store site, and then click Submit. And it's as easy as that. And then once you've done that, in the text box below, paste the URL, ID, and password for the Shopify site. I'm now going to explain what password that I'm looking for. It's not your admin password. It's the password to view your site. So let me show you where to find that. So here's how you find the password that I'm looking for. After you've set up your store, your Shopify store, this is your main admin page. And here's the link for the online store. You can see that little I button. So click on that. And then if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, it shows you that what the password is. It's right here. So so this is the password that I'm looking for right here. So it'll be at the bottom of your page. When you click on that I symbol to show what your website looks like, your Shopify website. Down here is a link to your Shopify manual that will tell you everything that you need to know to get started with your store. But to actually start on your store, that is an assignment for next week. This is due the second Sunday of the 2 weeks for Module 2. Your Shopify site setup is worth 10 points, and it involves these steps. So to set up your Shopify site, the first thing you want to do is visit this link here, the helpshopify.com site. And this is your Shopify Help Center. Read through this information. It gives you the basics that you need to know, set up and operate a store in Shopify. And then after you've done that, read the overview that explains the key features of Shopify and gives you a lot of other great advice about selling, pricing, help you might need when you're selling. So make sure you read through the key features, ways to sell, pricing plans, and where to go for help. Here's a link to the pricing plans. And then here's a link that explains the Shopify admin. So this is important to understand how the Shopify admin page works and what you can do with the admin page. And then after that, go to where it says this initial setup link. And this will give you step-by-step instructions on how to get set up in Shopify. Well, so one thing to keep in mind is since you have an extended free trial, your choices for themes are limited. And but if you want, you can try, but don't buy a paid theme. You shouldn't have to be spending money for anything. So you don't have to buy a domain name unless you really want to. But we have a lesson later on in the semester where we talk about how to do that. So I wouldn't do it now. And then once you have set up your store with one product, just one product, take a screenshot of the front page of your store and paste it in a Word document. So once you've set up your initial store with one product, take a screenshot of your store and paste it in a Word document. And in the same Word document, copy and paste these 3 questions below the screenshot and answer them. And so the questions are, which of the 3 ideas from the brainstorming assignment do you plan to use for this class? And why? How does building an e-commerce site using Shopify compare to what you experienced doing the 10 tutorials in the last assignment? And if you want to explore custom developing your site, here's a link that you can find out more information. Yes, so the next part of this assignment is worth 40 points. And this is the main part of your assignment. Now you know something about how to make websites. You've had some experience this lesson and the one previous. So there's 3 basic ways to make websites. You can build it from scratch, doing your own code, HTML and cascading style sheets, JavaScript, etc. Or you can use something that's called a content management system, a CMS. WordPress is the most famous. I think something like 70 to 80% of all the world's websites are actually on WordPress, something really ridiculously high like that. Another really popular content management system is Drupal and Joomla, and then there's a bunch of others, so you can take a look at those. Or you can use a web builder or an e-commerce builder such as Shopify, Wix, Weebly, or Squarespace. There's some others. So what I want you to do is read through the pros and cons of these 3 methods. And then after you've read through the pros and the cons of these 3 methods and you've visited the links that are mentioned here, make a decision on which method suits you the best. So do you want to build a website from scratch? Do you want to build it using a content management system? Or do you want to do it using an e-commerce builder like Shopify or Wix or Weebly? So whichever one you want to do, make sure that you check out these other links. So even if you're not going to do it from scratch, make sure you're familiar with what's in these links. So like, for instance, this is an article in PC Magazine that compares web hosting services, gives advice as to which one's the best in this year, 2019. Here's another link, a guide to web application development. So if you want to create a web application, this gives you a guide to doing it. Here in the CMS section, there's some other great links that do some comparisons between the main types of CMS. Here's a link that compares the main platforms for CMS. Another one for web hosting services. Another one that compares web hosting services that are best for content management systems. And then here in the e-commerce builder section, there's links that do a compare and contrast between the main e-commerce builders and explains which one might be best. After you pick one, just make sure that you take a look at all the links so that you are familiar with that information. Once you've made your selection, cut and paste these questions into a Word document and answer them. And if you use other sources to answer your question. And then make sure that you list the resources that you use to research your answer. And that's the assignment for the next 2 weeks. So to summarize, for week 1, you do how the web works assignment and the Shopify store account assignment. And then for week 2, the Shopify site setup and e-commerce site methods assignment. And before you do anything, make sure that you view the web technology overview. And if you're hearing my voice, you're already viewing this video. Class, if you have any problems or questions, I'm here for you. Just send me an email and I'll be happy to help.